How's it
Yeah,
going?
all good, my friend. All good, all good. I love how you can just see the handle of your Nerf gun in the background. That's awesome. Ah, it's the Hellfire as well, my man.
Warm out in for every occasion.
That's actually incredible how you've hung that up.
Then just on the side here, got the
Yeah,
old trust. Uh,
good man. Very well done. You've retained your weapons. I like to see that.
oh yeah, while I go to share, I have to hold it down here. Ready.
Look at that? You've got a mic
Uh,
and everything there, mate.
okay.
You've got a mic and everything there.
Yeah, well, I've had this all for years.
Beautiful. Oh, okay, I'm just doing it off a laptop, but cool. Yeah, we'll stick with that. Nice.
Yeah, I thought, well, I was going to do it off a laptop. I thought, well, comfort's everything to me. So, and style.
That's how you got to do it. How you been, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Just kind of riding out this lockdown, more studying.
Cool.
Usually really keeping the house warm, doing a lot of log chopping. Cat was a little bit ill, so I
Yeah.
had to take her to the vet. Other than that, not been massively much going on. What about you?
Similar, less cat stuff, but beyond that, yeah, pretty similar.
Not been.
Talk to me about your log chopping. What do you find? What muscles do you find like that works the most for you?
Um, does the shoulders quite nicely,
Hmm.
but it wrecks the back, lower back.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine.
No, I don't. I use the. I only use the axe up until we get the hydraulic splitter out. So we've
Ooh.
got like a splitter that goes on the back of the tractor,
Hmm.
and then by the way, the power might go out if I cut out suddenly. It's the power's gone.
It's fine for
So
you.
I'll be back in like probably 5 or 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've got like a hydraulic splitter, so I just use that instead. Now it just makes you can get so much done in an hour. I use the axe when I'm feeling playful. um, but yeah, it's just you can either get the job done hard or get the job done easy. And some days it's just nice to get down the easy route.
I'm sure it's still satisfying as hell to use the hydraulic one.
Oh, definitely. When you've got a big fucking log and you just hear it, like just hear the split.
Yeah.
Oh,
But, yeah. That was just so as a satisfied shrug. You're like, oh yeah, that's it right there.
it really is. It really is. Well, I'll show you one day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I know when I last saw you, the plan was to come down at some point, but obviously probably ain't gonna happen until sometime next year probably. Oh, piss off!
Yeah, we're not back for Christmas, so
You're not coming up now.
we're not. No, we're not probably not going to be down until January maybe.
Yeah. Cool.
I got a driving test in January. So
Cool.
fingers crossed. Next drive down, I'll be making. Um,
Nice, nice.
but I have to wait and see. It's just wait and see. Wait and see.
You got to pass on my congratulations to Tabs, by the way. It looks like she's doing well.
Yeah. Business is it's getting up now because of Christmas and all that,
Yeah, yeah.
and just working towards the whole. It's kind of the social media climb, kind of going from 50 to 100 followers, and then kind of working on from there. And it's funny because she said, 100 followers doesn't really seem like a lot, and I always use the analogy like, imagine if you set your shop up as like a little stall in like a market or something, and you had 100 people come visit you. Like, that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So don't knock the small numbers. At the end of the day, it's all foundation. Get to one point, and the thing is, enjoy it. Because
Mm.
like when your numbers are low, you can enjoy building the business. Once your numbers start getting higher and higher and higher,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to start to transition into it as a full time. I mean, it's a way off yet before it's a full time thing, but yeah, she enjoys it still. And if you're looking for any Christmas gifts,
I know who to come to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that is awesome for her. I guess I did have something that I thought was going to be really poignant, but it's gone now. It's good for her as well because she's got, it's a
Okay.
tangible product she's working with. So it's not like
Yeah.
it's just like one of us starting up Instagram for the first time and you're like just putting shit out just so you think would interest people. It's actually she's catering for a specific market, which is really cool.
Yeah, and she does her own stuff as well. She it's a combination of oh shit, coffee's ready. One sec. I'm back in 2 seconds.
No worries, man. It's all good.
Sweet lifeblood.
Coffee at this time of day. To be fair, I can't talk shit. I just finished my last coffee about a few minutes ago.
Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah. It's just nice because you can do.
Bear with us, everyone. We might have issues with.
It's nice when you've got free reign, really. To just.
Sorry, it went a little bit crackly there, but it's all right. I got you now. All I saw was just your coffee drinking there.
I mean, it's going better than I thought. I mean, I was definitely expecting the video to have gone shitty by now. So yeah, we're getting there.
It's good. It's gone a little bit, but it's fine. You can get the main detail for it all. But it's all good beyond that. How's the rest of the family anyway? They're all good.
Yeah, everyone else is all right. Everyone's just kind of doing their thing. Again, I think Christmas this year is going to be just. I think even though we're on the farm, we're going to have a separate Christmas from everyone else, just because it's just really kind of easier for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So just that's me and the cat this year, which we're not really too bummed out about. I think we're going to do our own bit of cooking and just watch Christmas films and just chill. It's nice not to have to like drive places this year.
Yeah.
Need to drive to places this year. It sounds really kind of, in a way it sounds selfish, but the other way it's, I think because of where we are, we're constantly up and down between Reading and Exeter.
Yeah.
And get not tedious, but just planning, planning dates and time off. And it's just nice this year to be like, right, we can just have a chill Christmas between us. And
because even
keep the cat as well.
Exactly. Even on a like a good day, that is still a couple of hours to get from like there and back. No, not even there and back, just to get there.
Yeah. It's not a long journey. It's just, I don't know. When you start doing it more and more and more, it gets kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know exactly where, how long each section is, and that there's going to be definitely an hour. No matter how good the traffic is, there's always going to be half an hour in Texter, hour on the M5, half an hour on the switch over, and then an hour on the M4. And I mean, one time we took the A303, but that's just roundabout central, and type percent like doing roundabout. So
see, I prefer going that route because the motorway, because it's literally just line, and you're there. That's it. It's just a dead straight line. I'm just like I'm falling asleep at the wheel. Whereas like the A303, I much prefer because it's like because you're moving around, it keeps you awake and keeps you like paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, I definitely feel there. It's just getting past Glastonbury. That's the problem because of Stonehenge.
Yes,
we were
slowed down.
Yeah, and then as soon as you get past Stonehenge, the traffic's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get why everyone's rubbernecking. I mean, they're old stones, but You know, you see it
Yeah,
on a postcard, you
yeah,
see it.
but and also like because of they put up like barriers around it now. Like when because it's so far away from the road, where you actually like look at it, it's so far away you can't appreciate how big it is. You're like,
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, it's just these little men here. Is anyone going to put in? You're like, okay,
yeah. I mean, there's still the hope that one day maybe it's aliens. Maybe Cthulhu rises from between the stones and starts to rain destruction down on the rest of the world. But
oh, hey, if he does, all you need to do to control him, yep, that's all anyone needs.
wait, hang on, wait. Let me get my Bible.
For anyone who isn't aware, H.P. Lovecraft is the author of Cthulhu, who is this lovely man here, who is the giant winged demon god, octopus man of the depths. He's a harbinger of the end times. And he's the source of endless.
There it is.
This is being a lot of fun. This is providing a lot of entertainment for people who are. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. Well done. Well done, sir.
Have you heard the good word of your Lord and Savior?
Yeah, Jake. I found our title pick. I'll tell the title pick. Just hold it up again.
No.
Where is it? That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. It was weird because I sort of like went to the front and I went, right, which ones do I want to read? And so I just picked some out at random, and they were it's such a weird collection of stories.
Yeah, because most of them don't. I mean, a couple of them are linked, mainly the Dream Quest ones, but the rest of them are all just random short stories onto their own.
Yeah.
I definitely would say one of my favorite ones is. Now, let me see if I can't actually remember the full title of it. That's it. The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath.
Because I haven't actually read all of them yet, because I've only picked a few out. Which is the one I thought was pretty good. Oh no, now I see it. I did read that one. That one was good. At the Mountains of Madness and Other Tales of Terror.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Shadow over Innsmouth is a classic.
Blood-curdling Tales of Horror and the Macabre.
I haven't read that one.
But that's what I quite like about it, is because the books are so short. For anyone who isn't aware, that just to give an indication, that's the list of all the books, and it's you can always just keep dipping out and be like, right, where have I got to? Okay, I haven't done that one, and just turn to that page, and you can just start a whole book.
Yeah, that's what I like about them. They're short but long, because you really have because like Lovecraft wasn't a very good writer, like in a conventional sense. But it's so madcapped, it's just different. Like, I mean, you kind of you spend most of the time trying to put two and two together, and the whole idea is there's something. I mean, that's why he gets a lot of criticism, because he's always over describing things that aren't there.
Yeah.
And people kind of thought that it was just him compensating for the fact that he didn't know what he was writing about. But then, I think later on people were just like, oh, okay, well, I'll think about what it could be. And I think once people started like bringing their own interpretations, that's when it got more interesting. And people were like, oh, this guy was actually onto something. I mean, when you think about how many things are based off of the Cthulhu mythos these days, it's pretty astounding, to be honest.
Yeah, like 50% of the memes on the internet are based on Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I imagine with, when Shakespeare would have come out as well. I mean, obviously it's a different format because it's a play, so it'd be all a bit of script. But I can't imagine our actual spoken language has evolved that much, so that was actually how they spoke then, and this is how we speak now. That was only a couple hundred years ago. Language takes thousands of years to change. But again, I think similar to Lovecraft, it was just a completely different thing that people were like, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" Like, what are you trying to do? With all these grandiloquent phrases, and it's almost like song how he's speaking, or how he had the character speaking, because just to convey a whole message and add so much meaning to it.
Yeah, and like more so, like the more people adapted Lovecraft stuff and interpreted it into like a physical concept. Like if you play a game and like like people do Images of Cthulhu, it's like what's it? There's From Beyond, which is an oldish film.
Yeah.
Which is they start to try and do like a sort of physical view of the Lovecraft monster. Same with Bloodborne, they do a lot of like Cthulhu-esque monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But like in a way, I always found that like once they're kind of given a physical form, they're kind of less scary. Mm-hmm. Like I always thought that the monster in my head was a lot scarier than the monster that I'm like seeing on the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still terrifying. That's why The Color Out of Space is such a good story, because whenever people try to adapt that or make it into like some sort of fiction, it's always scary because like you can never really represent it on the screen because the color's meant to, the color is like a color that humans can't comprehend.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time when they use it on like films or in like interactive stories, it's usually just like a bluey purple. But when I read it in the book, it's always some like I can't really explain. I can't explain it. That's the thing. I can't explain what I see when I read a Lovecraft story.
That's the point.
Yeah, but it's always terrifying. It always scares me.
Yeah,
and you've probably got a different interpretation.
Yes. Well, what was the one? The one now the more we talk about, the one that hit me the most was the one where they go like mining or something, and there's these two guys, and they go down to a mine shaft, and then one of them goes ahead, and they come screaming back, and he's like, "You've got to go, you've got to go, you've got to leave, you've got to go and never come back, leave." And he's like, "Go quick, 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 run!" And then he can like hear there's something coming after him, but you never see, hear, or know anything about it. But all you know is this guy's terror and how scared he is, and he's just trying to get you to run away and leave and never come back and see all this and forget about it, all that sort of thing. Because he sacrifices himself so the other guy can live, but the guy who lives still has no idea what was there.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about it. You just never know what.
You never know what it was. You don't know.
Like,
to this day, that's the end of the story. Is him running away, not knowing what it was, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, it's genius! It's so clever.
Yeah, I think it's great, and like every Halloween, I always crack open the Necronomicon and read a couple of stories. Like, this year was The Shadow over Innsmouth, just because. Well, I just did this on the whim, really, just for Fishmen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds like a good Halloween treat. Because when I said about The Color Out of Space, there is a film that came out recently with Nicolas Cage that I've yet to watch. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a great combination, Nicolas Cage and Lovecraft, and Nicolas Cage is and Lovecraft.
That man's batshit crazy. He was. Someone was telling me he's related to someone really famous in like a director, which is how he got all of these roles, even though he's not a good actor.
I don't think he's a terrible actor. He's just weird.
He's nuts, and he picks very questionable roles to do. Like some are brilliant, like Ghost Rider, The Rock, National Treasure, let's say, and the rest of them you're like, what is going on? Like Face Off, Con Air, or the remake of The Wicker Man. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah, but again, even they're like, I mean, have you seen Into the Spider-Verse, the animated Spider-Man film?
No, I haven't.
But he plays Noir Spider-Man, the black and white one.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's not a massive role, but he's just perfect for it. Because you can imagine Nicolas Cage playing a disgruntled detective in a black and white, old, noir-esque film.
Yeah.
Like giving a soliloquy while smoking a cigarette about some woman that's broken his heart, mm-hmm. and that he now has to go and investigate the murder of some old lady for her jewels. It's just a thing, you know. He's got the voice for it.
Isn't that like half of the film of Bad Detective?
No.
It's, I remember him from that film, like snorting a load of coke and then threatening an old woman in an old folks' home. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I remember watching. We used to watch the Nicolas Cage losing his shit video in sixth form, where it just shows all his iconic like nut rolls.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of the best compilations ever created in all of humanity.
Next to Sean Bean dies and everything.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Going back to what you were saying about Cthulhu's like origins. What do you reckon came first, him or the Legend of the Kraken?
Probably the Kraken.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah,
because the Kraken probably at least goes. I mean, as far as I would think, goes maybe back to like Greek mythology.
yeah, because the original one was the pet of Poseidon. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think most of his stuff stems from like the deep, as in general, like just the general sense of because it's weird. A lot of it comes from the sea, but it's cosmic horror. So it's like it's like creatures that have come from space and fallen into the ocean or built cities on the ocean that have sunk into the ocean. And yeah, so they're from the unknown reaches of space, and they live in the unknown reaches of the ocean, which is terrifying because I mean, when you think about it, we haven't explored much of the ocean. I think they say we've explored more of space than we have of the ocean.
Damn it, I was just about to say that. Yeah, I love that statistic.
Yeah, so
I think
we don't know what's there.
All of the water on the planet we've explored, I think it's something stupid like 5% of it or something. Because it makes sense because you've got obviously we live in a giant floating ball of gas that's hurtling through space. Gravity is compressing everything down, and water is the second most. I want to say permeable, but that's the wrong thing. It's air is the number one element, material, whatever that will get into places, and then water will be number two because it will just follow gravity. So there'll be bits of it that we physically cannot get to. That's how much water there is in the planet. That'll be mixed into crusts and mantles and shit. It's so fascinating because you've got he was because when you look at Cthulhu, he's a winged man demon octopus thing, and if he's taking that from when when he wrote it. God, I don't actually know. God knows how long ago he wrote it. But when he wrote it, there would have been so much little known compared to now. Whereas there's actually very strong evidence and theory that octopus or octopi are actually from space because their genetic makeup doesn't match other carbon life on Earth.
Yeah, that makes sense. He wrote it in the early 20th century.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't remember the exact like dates from. But yeah. So like even then, like science was kind of again coming out of with post-Victorian, so there were more kind of advances, and I think he just kind of he just wanted to write. But yeah, like I think you're right. The octopuses as a sort of as an example, and squids are like just really alien creatures, and kind of the perfect, I guess, foundation to base because it's literally if you look at most things that kind of reference it's always octopuses, octopi. There's always like the Kraken.
Yeah.
And normally you're fighting like mind flayer kind of things, like from like fantasy and D&D and all that. Like mind flayers are usually like mini Cthulhu's in a way. And then obviously they're attributed to like madness and all that, and it all kind of flows into one. I think most people take influences from something or other, but yeah, I think octopuses were definitely, or octopi were definitely a good kind of basis. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense if it was like an elephant. Imagine Cthulhu with an elephant head. It'd be ridiculous.
Well, people would just be like, well, he's obviously just taking the piss out of Hinduism. Like, you'd be like, come on, mate, you can do better than that. Ganesh, I want to say, in the head. I think.
It is Ganesh,
yeah. Octopus, God damn it, octopuses, whatever. It's interesting that we, so in the Western civilization, as it were, see them as this great, destructive, terrifying oceanic power, whereas the Japanese culture sees them for a little bit different. Anyway, I think another one, huh?
They are tasty.
They're very tasty. That's not what I meant. Anyway, the other one as well that comes to mind would be the creature. There we go. The creature from the first Lord of the Rings film, where they're breaching the gates of Moria, and that giant octopus tentacle thing just grabs them out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, the Watch in the Water.
Yeah, it's not the Great Peter cartoon because that's Star Wars. I don't know. Oh, I want to say it's like what? It's just something really weird, like Watcher in the Deep or something weird like that.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. Yeah, they're just good, like general difficult things to fight. Like anything that's got more than 4 limbs is obviously going to have the advantage.
Yeah.
And yeah, just giant squid-like creatures just make perfect final bosses and make perfect kind of enemies that can't be beaten easily. Because normally in most films, they're not really, you never really ever beat the Kraken. You just injure it enough that it retreats.
Yeah, drive it off. Yeah.
Because because they're like difficult. They're just, how do you fight something that's got a million whip it like giant? I wouldn't say muscular, but
yeah, it's just muscle, very little bone, isn't it? It's just like muscle and a beat.
Yeah, it's most of the time you're gonna have a lot of trouble fighting it. So you don't fight it, you just kind of injure it and then run.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think the ways they killed it in these films. So in Pirates of the Caribbean, it was a lot of gunpowder, but then I didn't actually kill it. I just annoyed it. Then Davy Jones somehow killed it. And then in Clash of the Titans, he had Medusa's head, so he was turned to stone, which I think is cheating. That's a bit lazy, personally. He just couldn't be bothered to be like hack and slash it. He just went, there you
go. Yeah. I haven't seen Clash of the Titans. What's the one we saw? That was it, Immortals.
Yeah, I have such mixed feelings about that film. Parts of it are awesome, and parts of it I'm like, they really ruined this.
Yeah, the Titans are a disappointment in that film. Yeah, back to the Oxford. Well, I'm just trying to think what else. Have you seen The Mist? The Stephen King adaptation into the film.
No.
So there is a film called of The Mist,
and
there's like a kind of octopus. It's quite gruesome because what it does is the suckers like rip into the skin. So rather than like them just sucking, like as soon as it's at the end. It's got like these like weird teeth things at the end of its tentacles.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just puts it on the guy's leg, and it just fucking rips like half the skin off.
Whoa.
Again, they couldn't fight it. There's too many tentacles. There's too many like teeth. So they're just they're difficult things to fight.
Yeah.
If I ever find one in a video game, I normally hate it, especially if it's one that you actually have to dodge yourself.
Yeah.
They were a good choice for Lovecraft.
I was gonna say, if you are like a game developer, or you're writing your own fiction or whatever, it's awesome because you can do whatever you want to do with it. But when you've actually got to deal with it in real life, it's such a pain in the ass. But again, that's the whole point of boss fights, isn't it?
Oh yeah, exactly. And it didn't really work out for Lovecraft because I think he died pretty much in poverty,
kind
of hating the world.
Yeah,
because it never really became popular until after he died. So they were a good choice later down the line, just not at a particular moment in time.
I think, yeah, for something that is so out there, and it probably wasn't representative of the times. It was probably representative of his life and his mindset and outlook on everything. Maybe it was a prediction of stuff, because some things become really popular. Well, everything is shaped by the current events of what's happening socially, culturally, whatever the time is written, but not all of them will be representations of that. Then there'll just be predictions of what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping not. I mean, as much as I joke about, yeah, Cthulhu, our Lord and Savior, having read quite a lot of Lovecraft stuff, that is not a world I want to live in.
Not okay, fine. In his case, not a literal prediction, but it became more popular later on because the general Western readers overall feeling and emotional state worked really well for that. And they found it was really receptive to his writings because people had changed and times had changed.
Yeah, but it also didn't work in his favor because Lovecraft was like, I mean, I don't know how sensitive your podcast is, but he was a massive racist. Like, huge.
All the good ones were, mate. Well, I mean, Darwin's
yeah,
like most famous book is, I mean, it's a chapter in its own right as the title, but that, I mean, that's got has something to do with like the superior race in it or something.
Yeah, well, that is, I mean, a lot of Lovecraft's work is like, because he doesn't just reference the monsters, he references like ancient civilizations.
Yeah.
But normally he always references them in a derogatory fashion. Or if you read Herbert West's Reanimator, like there is just a good 5 pages of constant I don't know how it, I guess people would have to read it. But I mean, I still love his work, and it's weird. I had to bring up when I did my dissertation on Lovecraft, I had to kind of reference it because it was like a key point in his work. So like I didn't go like too in depth into it because it wasn't really what the whole thing was about, but it was kind of like the basis for his disgust in the world or in history and the reasons for the monsters. Like the monsters had to be caused by something, and a lot of them were it's ancient civilizations that worship them. Yeah, he's not kind about the people he's talking about. But again, I mean, it's fiction, but like you say, it always stems from the person themselves. What most fiction does.
Absolutely,
most ideas do. And again, it was a different time back then, so that's just how it was. And
well, let me just see. They usually put dates in here when these were first published. 1923 was the first one.
Yes, that's about right.
Yeah. This is weird though, because some of these go up to 2005, which is really odd.
They usually do that, I think, when they're like edited or reworked, or
okay.
They might find like old transcripts. It's usually when they're like re-released, like second editions, third editions, different publishing house.
Do you reckon he did any? Sorry, say again.
I was gonna say, that was a real pain when I had to do this station. Was you have to find like the dates of like original works, but you've only got republished dates. It's like,
well, I mean,
sorry, we can ask.
Well, for some of these as well, I imagine that would be really tricky to actually find original ones, because some of these things are so short they could easily just have been a doodle thing he written down somewhere, and they found them post-mortem, and there's like no date or anything, so they're like, we found it today, let's say it was written today, I don't know. So
yeah, and like a lot of it was in like pulp magazines and like pulp comic kind of things, like sci-fi or early sci-fi-esque like mashups. People would like submit their work in. So yeah.
So I'd like to talk about dragons. Just because you were talking about great beasts that were worshipped by previous civilizations. I'd like to propose something to you, sir. As I heard recently, I thought
Okay.
was quite good. All across the world, there are depictions of dragons, whether they be giant, you know, land serpents from China to the weird sea hydras or of different parts of like Greece or whatever. But they're all similar, and it's gone through all of time. There's been these weird drawings and writings and tales and stories and everything. But there's been someone was saying that for a dragon to, they all agree that dragons have wings, and so for a dragon to be capable of flight, it would have to have hollow bones. How hollow bones? Because they're hollow, they don't leave a fossil, so they don't leave an imprint in the ground from when they rot away. So there'd be no evidence to prove that dragons were there because the fossilized remains wouldn't exist. So there's no proof that dragons did not exist. Thoughts?
I mean, that's a fair point, but I mean, I'll just go with the kind of, if there's no evidence that they ever existed, then they never existed. I mean, it's a good reason why they didn't exist, but like, I doubt that something like a dragon would exist on planet Earth in a way that didn't alter the hierarchy of life as we know it, that we would never uncover any evidence that they ever existed. I think, yeah. And also, I don't think anything that big in that fashion would be. I think if it had hollow bones, it would like collapse in on itself.
You could argue the same thing about really big birds, birds that do fly. You could argue the same thing like an albatross or a condor.
Yeah, but they're still not like huge, are they? They're not like
Albatross is
dragon.
It's like 2 or 3 meters from tip to tip.
Yeah, but still relatively small in the sense that it's designed to be that. Like it's big, but I reckon its dry body mass is relatively small, whereas the dragon would still need to have like a relatively strong body. If it, I mean, are we talking about, are they carnivorous dragons or?
Yeah.
Flies?
That'd be a really pathetic dragon if it just like ate like leaves or something.
Okay, so in that sense, we'd have to assume that like, it's relatively dense. I don't know. I can't. But then I guess you got pterodactyls as well. Even though they have a small body structure.
But that's the interesting thing as well, is you've got a pterodactyl. We've got a fossil for that. And that flew.
I just don't think dragons, in an evolutionary sense, would have been like. I don't think there would have been any way that those traits would have come together that you'd get a dragon. I think genetics would be like this. We can't make it, guys. This ain't gonna work.
What do you think that is then about the human psyche for there to be, in a time where travel between these continents would have been rare to bordering towards unheard of, that there's something in the brain about creating a dragon. There's a creature that breathes fire and fangs and wings and scales and claws. What is it? What do you think it is about human nature then that is a recurring commonality?
It's just people making up stories. It's like anything, it's like.
I wanted more in depth.
Excuse it. Well, yeah, like imagine. Okay, so put it this way, right? You're a grain farmer, or no, you're a cattle farmer, right? So, and your lord wants X amount of milk, and you want so many cows for slaughter. But then something happens to your cows, they get rustled, or they die of disease, or some sort of or just general wild animals get them. And you know that your lord's not going to be very forgiving. He's not going to forgive you very easily. So you have to think to yourself, I've got to come up with an outlandish story that's going to make everyone go, oh my God, this poor guy, let's not stick him in the stocks. So you go, I mean, I don't know how a peasant would know about a lizard, but I guess it's like newts and all that. So you think, okay, so what's something that's really exotic and terrifying? Okay, a lizard. And what would make that even more terrifying? It flies. Because that's the only way you could explain. Yeah, that's the only way you could explain the dragon coming down and taking your cattle, but leaving absolutely no evidence. It just comes down, touches enough its claws, and takes it off.
Because there would be.
Your lord goes, yeah. Next thing you know, you've been promoted to head storytelling peasant because you've created this fantastical. It's like hippogriffs. You've got hippogriffs. You've got griffins. You've got like lamias. You've got
satyrs,
giant crabs,
chimeras.
Yeah, it's just amalgamations of like different animals to make it more interesting.
And you know, and the benefit of that is that man would have two things. He would have created a dragon, and he would have created the first ever court jester.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's an entrepreneur right there. But it's interesting because you got a question: what percentage of many religions would be formed, or the story, tales, and fables in religion would have been formed as a because of that, because people just making stuff up to explain things that they either couldn't explain or didn't want to get caught out.
Exactly. I mean, it comes back to Lovecraft. He combined, because Cthulhu is meant to be, he's got a squid's head, like a dragon, squid dragon man. Sometimes he's got like cloven hooves, so sometimes he's like part like satyr minotaur kind of thing. But yeah, it's just a combination of different animals that you go, this is terrifying. But his was a bit lazier because his was a combination of other mythical things like the Kraken. I mean, that's they make it more terrifying. You take the monsters and then you combine the monsters together, and then we take those monsters and we combine them with more monsters like Cthulhu crossed with a chimera, crossed with a hydra, crossed with what else is terrifying?
Again, Manticore, Chimera, Nemean Lion, Minotaur, Centaur. Minotaur's a good one. I like Minotaur.
Minotaurs are cool.
Yeah.
Depends what kind of Minotaur it is, though. I find the ones with like an actual man torso are quite creepy.
Oh, well, it's so for all intents and purposes, it's a dude, but with a ox's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find that. This doesn't seem terrifying.
You're just like, all right, mate, take the mask off. Yeah, it depends. There's so many renditions of a Minotaur, because if you've got like Narnia, and you're like, oh, it's just like a lovable big man, bear, bull thing. You're like, he's a nice guy. I'm trying to think of like creepy ones. You've got so many variations in any like Greek adaptation. I mean, like bringing it back to Immortals, the one from that was just a huge dude who had a helmet in the shape of a bull's head, and he was just a massive guy.
Yeah, but again, most of the legends come out. I mean, have you seen Hercules with Dwayne Johnson?
No, that's quite recent, isn't it? I mean, relatively.
Yeah, it's fairly recent. I mean, I don't want to spoil it now, but like that's a good concept, a good take on Hercules.
Cool.
Because there's a lot more films these days that it's like, okay, here's a good example: Christopher Nolan's Batman series. Now he doesn't actually have supervillains in a normal sense. His supervillains are all normal people, but they emotionally personify. They mostly personify what makes them scary. So rather than them being like a physical supervillain trait, they are just normal people that they focus more on the character. And if you thought about that in that sense, imagine if Christopher Nolan's Batman actually happened, and then we got comic books as a result of that, where they actually gave the supervillains powers to make them more terrifying or make them more epic. it's the same thing. Like a lot of things that happen in history tend to become legend just because of how it's like Chinese whispers. You
Yes,
start a story of one with the actual truth, and
absolutely.
then you get to like the 100th person, and the story is completely warped.
Mm.
It's how you get all your, how you get like most of the stories in there today.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's got to be an interesting. I'd be interested. There's no way of possibly known, but imagine like the thousands of years it's taken to create not even the Bible, but like the Greek mythology. But imagine, and you're like, oh, it was this one single simple story became this huge convoluted giant myth of interconnecting deities and people and stuff. And then you look at like what's happening like over the last 10 years, and people just take a single thing and it becomes this completely overblown nonsense. Like I wonder what is like, ignoring the timescale, I wonder what is the bigger exaggeration, what rumors have started over the last decade versus how much a true story has become a legend. That'd be, again, there's no way of knowing, but it's just that we just live in such bullshit at the minute.
That's really interesting because you think with more ways to communicate, stories would be more truthful and solid,
Hmm.
but they've become even crazier than
Yeah,
they were before.
yeah,
It's mad.
yeah. Nathan sent me uh, an article about that uh, big metal obelisk they found in the desert.
What? I didn't know what this.
There's a I'll find out what desert it is. I can tell you. Hang on. But I was like, great, we're all done for. It's in Utah. There's a giant metal monolith that's been found over the last 2 days, and it looks very similar to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Hmm. I'll get my cultist robes ready.
it's, in all likelihood, it's probably just someone who went, yeah, let's fuck with the world, let's have some fun, and just built this thing and just stuck it there. And people are gonna be like, oh, it's a clock, it's a time bomb. Who knows what's gonna happen? It's a homing device. It's like, nah, it's just some corrugated iron that I polished and left in the sun.
Yeah, you just gotta come up with a clever story and
Yeah.
tell people and spread it in the right channels, and before you know it, you've got a cult.
Well, it's fun. It's fun, isn't it? But it's fun, which is the organic way of looking at it. Also, it's distraction as well. It's just something else to look at when we don't know what the hell the rest of this crap's going on about. Something I want to say before I forgot is when you talk about putting monsters and monsters together, you would have had the two, in my opinion, the two greatest monsters from Greek mythology would have been Echidna, who is the mother of all beasts and monsters and crazy things, and then Typhus, no, not Typhus, Typhon, sorry, who was her husband, and he was 200 feet tall. He had the body of a giant snake, and he had, I think it was 100 dragon wings and 100 dragon heads.
Hmm.
And you're
In
like, okay,
reality, it probably really scary lady
yeah,
and a slightly larger than normal son.
and they probably had a few snakes as pets.
Yeah, just again, it's also people that like get into these fights with people, and then they don't want to sound like they got beaten up by something pathetic, so they go, he was an absolute giant.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
was taller than two houses, and he rained fire and could
Mhm.
summon krakens, and just because you make it sound a bit more interesting. And
It's so
yeah,
much epic, isn't it? So much more happening.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the other way is obviously was also to explain things. Like a lot of the gods, especially like Egyptian gods, most of them were just representations of some like facet of life.
Mhm.
So Anubis, Death, Ra. Was it Osiris? Ra
You
was the sun.
Death was interesting because you had multiple guardians. You had Anubis was the head death god, and then you had Osiris and Horus. They took turns different times of the year as like his underlings.
Yeah.
Were.
What was it? There was also was it Sek? Was it
Yep,
was either a crocodile or
yep,
yeah? Was it the crocodile? Yeah.
yep, yep.
But yeah, again, it's all kind of like just explaining things really in a rational, I guess, in a way you'd rationalize at the time.
Yeah, same thing with the Greek ones as well. I mean, they had it so that you'd have it was a way of ensuring you got. It was just superstition effectively because it was like a lucky charm to make sure certain things happen. Like you pray to the god of Ares because then he means you're going to win in a fight. You pray to Demeter and leave offerings for her because then you're going to get a good harvest. You're going to sacrifice a goat to Aphrodite because you want to have success in love. It's ways to comfort yourself and try and make sense of the madness. Especially, I mean, Greek time is weird because we don't know what the remnants that we can still see now or what they actually live life. I mean, they had like toilets, they had sewage systems. We don't know what else they had.
We could start our own cult. I mean, there are two gods I would worship, which is Baristios, god of coffee, and Blockmon, god of monster energy drinks.
Baristios is great. That's very good.
We could get our own little pantheon going.
What would be our? I'm trying to think for each of them, what the logo for each of them could be. It'd have to be like the bean for Baristios or something, or like a really like regal looking like coffee mug, like or something like that.
Yeah, or like I have a regal looking coffee mug, a really tired looking eye, or you could just like reinvent the Starbucks logo.
Yeah, that's a good challenge. I fear that Baristios is a thing already, or is it? No. Sorry, I'm thinking of Briareos. My bad. That's something else. Yeah. Okay. No, I think you're good with that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll set my cart up. I'll set a website up, and then I can guarantee that's the kind of thing you would get. It's funny. My dad. I was talking to Dad the other day, and he said if he wanted to, he'd go in front of Buckingham Palace, start spewing a load of like crazy nonsense about some like coal, and within like a month he'd have 1,000 followers.
Easy.
Like he said, that's just because people are so, like you said, I'm looking for a distraction, or they want to believe, they want to. It's what's it? People want to be in the know. They want to know something that no one else knows.
Yes, absolutely.
So they will get in at ground level to try and be part of something that no one else is part of until it becomes mainstream, and then
they don't care anymore.
That's where hipsters came from.
And and the huge rise in the more wacky conspiracy theories of the last few years.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like Pizzagate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a crazy one.
That was nuts. Yeah.
You know, it's still going on. People still believe that it's an actual thing.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, well, yeah. You always get a couple of people who kind of they believe that. Obviously, because it was all a cover up, and that you know, people that were duped into thinking it was real were like they were actors who were there to try and debunk the conspiracy to make it look like that they thought the conspiracy was real. They got caught and then just end it. And you know, people, the problem is because you can call anything fake these days, you can keep living in your dream world forever because you just can. You can just say no. You don't have to listen to the truth. You can just say, and there's always going to be something online that you can quote that backs up your argument.
Absolutely. Which is it's why it's dangerous to spend too much time, even though it's easier to do now because we're obviously having less interaction. But it's dangerous to spend too much time getting all your facts from the internet. I think the one of the best quotes ever from Big Bang Theory summed up very well, and it was when Howard got dumped by Lindsay. Lindsay? Yeah, whatever it was. No, Leslie Winkle. That was it. And he's like, he comes in, he's like, oh, she's been telling everyone that she dumped me. And Raj is like, yeah, but she did dump you. And he's like, grow up, Raj. There's no place for truth on the internet. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
No place for truth. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a repository. It's a repository for knowledge. However, but it's so easy to correct. I mean, the fact that it can just make shit up. I mean, the fact that Wikipedia is a public forum is great because it means if you have the information, you can't edit it. But people just change it just for a laugh. You're like, thanks, that's really useful.
I think it's funny as well when you look at like the user base of the internet. Like I think, and again, I'm not generalizing, but a lot of people that I think, as more and more people have started to use the internet that perhaps didn't know how to use it before, or they've kind of seen it as, I guess, a treasure trove if there's any kind of information you want. I think because our generation grew up with the internet as it is, we kind of just came to take it at face value and what was on the internet, or we would look for objective truths on the internet. Because
How do you mean?
like I don't know. I guess the other problem is like there was never like this amount of craziness with the internet as I was growing up. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is due to, I guess, Google algorithms being able to like present you with what you want to know, what you want to hear. So, as I said, for example, I wanted to like find out about a cult that worshipped, I don't know, say, okay, let's take Barristios as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a conversation about Barristios. Google would be like, right, okay, so they're talking about this, and it would serve me up search results that were more based around Barristios if I went into the news section.
Yeah.
Same with YouTube. If I like typed in YouTube and there was someone else, a YouTuber who would vlog about Barristios, it would be in my recommended. It would say, this guy, is giving information about Barristios. So I would click on it, and then I found like-minded people, and then they give you more resources that present you to more Barristios-based things, and so on and so forth. But that was never a thing, because when, as we were growing up, Google just gave you exactly what you searched for. So I never went off on a tangent because it never took it. It would just give me exactly. So if I searched up, I wanted to know about coffee, it wouldn't give me Barristios. It would just give me just general things about I want to know about coffee.
Yeah.
It'd probably be somewhere in there, but it'd be like on page 10, 11, 12 that you never go to. Whereas these days, it's easier for stuff that you talk about to get served up to you, and then you fall down the rabbit hole of Barristios, the coffee guy.
Yeah, you're definitely onto it about the algorithms, because there's two ways I think they prioritize it. It's either from popularity, so the most viewed, and then recency. So if there's a trend going on now, that's going to come up with as a sponsored post, and then the actual entry that'll be the most viewed over time will be below that. So you're more likely to click on the thing in human nature, and also how it's laid out. You're more likely to click on the thing you see right at the top. But yeah, because I'm trying to think, because I can remember time, without without the internet. I can remember a time without these, like because you never had it, you were just like your life was never like less because of it.
No, and I can guarantee that after our conversation, I'm going to get like probably either some YouTube recommendations about Cthulhu Mythos. I'll probably get some about dragons, probably stuff about like conspiracies and fake news as well. Because it's like no matter how much I turn off like mic controls and all that. They always seem to, they ever come back on an update or something or other. I mean, I guess I think for most people it doesn't really matter because most people aren't really that easily swayed. But you only need to like capture those few people. Like I said, that's what I mean. If you went to Buckingham Palace and you were preaching, you only have to capture those like that one in every, I don't know, 500 people, and then you've got a small cult going. Yeah, and you've got 100 people. Like I said earlier about Tabs and her followers on Instagram, like 100 people is enough to get. If those 100 people then tell 2 people, then you go up to 300, and then those people tell more people, and it's just, and after that,
And also for her as well, if she wants to, because she's selling a tangible thing, she wants to make money out of it, she wants to sell items there. If you've got, I don't know, let's say 5% of people buy it, that's 5 people out of 100. And then, as you said, the more people that goes up, that application is still going to apply as you go up, but just with more people. So the number of purchases is going to keep going up.
Yeah, and then you buy more marketing, you push it out more, you buy more advertisement space. So yeah, it's like, and then you can reach more people that are perhaps interested in that particular thing.
Well,
it's engine good.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we're plugging it shamelessly right now.
Yeah, it'd be the same with your podcast. If I was to say, you know, I don't know. If I just said harping on or keep harping on like 100 times a day, I guarantee that one of your podcasts will perhaps eventually pop up somewhere on my YouTube. Be it on probably not on the recommended main page, but probably somewhere in my like side videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess everyone's probably done the test where they're like, I don't know, talk about dildos or they talk about something funny, and then Amazon like brings it up in their like recommended shop items.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, it makes me glad sometimes being out here where there are people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I think things will go back to normal maybe eventually, but I don't think they will until people kind of get over this whole grasp between internet reality and reality.
Yeah, it's tough to do that. I mean, I've said that to quite a lot of people over the last few weeks. For the first 2 weeks of this lockdown, I didn't speak to anyone outside of my house, and I was just like, I just felt awful. I felt terrible, and then I made like a concerted effort to speak to people. Which is like I messaged you and I'm like 20 other people or whatever. Some are busy, which is fine, and then some have spoken to me, and some I'm speaking to later in the week. But as soon as I spoke to someone, I was just like, oh, I feel so much better. Because it's texting doesn't do anything. Like I'm not 15 anymore. Like when I could just text all evening and be like, oh, that's enough. Partly because I'd obviously see them the next day at school. But text, unless I only really like it if it's organising something or if I'm busy. Whereas this is like this is number one for me besides actually like being in your house. Yeah, phone calls great, love it, it's cool. But like I think I certainly need to force myself to do more stuff like this, to do more calls, to if I meet up with people and we walk at a distance from each other, sweet, because we just need that continued human interaction.
Yeah, you need people. I don't think. I mean, I always seem to get on this topic, but like, technology just can't replace like the whole face-to-face interaction with people. I mean, I'm glad I got tabs, to talk to on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Even if she's at work, I've got a cat, which is a not crazy way of talking to the cat, but it's just nice to hear another noise.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice once. Definitely once I'm driving, I'll definitely be back and more because I do miss this like properly socialize in person, like when we go to the pub or just going out into town and stuff like that. But no, I definitely agree with you. Like, just being able to chat to people after not having spoken to people for like 2 weeks is just the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
I do the same with my brother and my dad. I make sure I speak to my dad either once a week or every 2 weeks, and then with my brother. It's usually like every couple of days or like every week, just depending on how busy he is. And even sometimes we have the mic on and we don't talk for like half an hour, but it's just nice to know that someone's there on like the other end.
Yeah.
But then some days I just like to just go out and chop logs on my own with my headphones in. So
yeah, that is awesome. That's still awesome.
Yeah, best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I've been doing. I've been forced myself to do proper running. Like it's real small steps, and the fact that it's really short distance, but I'm making sure I'm doing it properly. Like I'm running on the balls of my feet at the minute, so I'm actually working my calves for the first time in my life. It's very exciting.
Oh my god!
I know. I'll actually have something slightly bigger chicken legs when you come back.
Okay. What's the bet? I'll buy you. I don't know. I'll get you a coffee.
I'd need to find.
Visibly bigger, I'll get you a coffee.
I'd need to find a picture that is from. Okay, when are we comparing this from?
Can we see your calves in that old picture when you're carrying Matt? Remember, it was Matt on a Matt. Or was it no? Did Matt have you?
He was holding me. There's no way I could pick him up. Jesus Christ.
That'll be on Facebook somewhere. I'm pretty sure your calves are in it.
Okay. Well, I've got there's that, or there's the. I'm trying to think if there's a Spartan race, it would have been a good one. I'm
About
sure.
your ice bucket.
Hmm?
About your ice bucket challenge video. That will probably. I mean, it's quite far back, but I mean,
I'll have a look.
they're relatively.
Hmm?
They're relatively the same, I guess.
Yeah, same sort of era. I'll have a look, but I had a big point where I basically deleted all my shit off Facebook. So I've taken all my photos off of it and I put it on. So I've got them on my old phone. So I'm trying to make like a gallery or like a photo book. But because they've shut Google Drive, I'm going to try to figure out a way to make it communal. So I can, once I finish with it, I can put it all together and people can have a look. But Facebook is just such a shitly designed website. Like it's got an option like download all albums. You're like, cool. So it's like, bear with us, we're preparing it, and then it just, and then it just and there's another button next to it that says download now, and then it just crashes, and you're like, but it's done it on all devices. It's done that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I tried it before. I know what you mean. It's absolutely, it's just dog shit.
Oh, so and what's annoying as well is that it doesn't, because I've got pictures going all the way back to 2009, and it doesn't have any, it doesn't bring any of the metadata with it, so there's no dates on it. So you're just like, oh, this is just. So you need to find, I need to find a way to put the dates in, but I'm just like, this is going to take a bloody long time.
There's no metadata at all.
Nothing at all.
Weird. That's really odd.
Yeah, really strange. I've kind of like split it into so I'm using my old phone on it because I can make albums, and I'm kind of split it into years. So I've got all the years split up, and then I'm trying to work out what month each of them are, and so it's just going to take me a bloody long time to get it all done. But hopefully that can work. But the videos just wouldn't budge at all.
Well, if you ever need to, if you want to use me to like date some of them, just look at my hairline, and that will help you kind of figure out the timeline of things.
Yeah, well I went through. I basically trawled through pretty much everyone you can name's Facebook just to find pictures I thought were good. And I've got a good 600 or 700 pictures. They're pretty good.
That'd be good. It'd be good if you can get them all into one space. But yeah, it's a task and a half.
Mate, it is fun. It's just tedious, and I'm just trying to find a medium where I can do it. Yeah, because they stopped doing what was the Google one, Picasa, which was pretty good. So you could just give out that login for it, and people could just go look at it. But I'll figure something out. It should be quite good.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably do the same with my Facebook stuff, but I just I tried it before, and it was just, I think it was just processing forever.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever gave me the option to download it, which was a pain in the ass. But
yeah, it's so bloody.
I mean, as long as Facebook isn't shut down, I know they'll be there. So I got my at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I had to do it. I had to go to like each out. How did I do it? I had to do it as like a chunk at a time, and I had to do it all manually. Yeah, that took a while.
Yeah, I just can't be asked. I mean, I tried deleting one of my Hotmail emails I've been saving for the last like 8 years. I have like 20,000 emails.
Oof.
And I think I got to about 8,000.
Yeah.
And then just should be asked anymore. It took me about an hour and a half just to delete those 8,000 emails. Yeah. You have to scroll down, and I mean, you can like bulk select, but it still takes ages.
That is crazy, bloody hell.
Good idea at the time. Good idea at the time. I was like, I'm gonna have so many emails, and now much regret.
Trying to clear all up. Right, my man. That has been absolutely divine now to actually speak to you again. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
I'm glad the signal held. The power didn't go off.
I know.
I'm actually amazed.
With a few wobbly moments, but we made it through. That's the important thing. It's perseverance, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, my voice. I hate my voice on video, let alone my voice over voice chat. So I'll probably have to wear a bag on my head when I watch this one back. But yeah.
All right, you and me both, mate. I sound negative as hell all the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm gonna make dinner.
Oh shit! Sorry, mate. Why didn't you say so sooner? We're kind of
No,
depriving
it's all right. No, no,
of his food.
it's okay. It's okay. We plan here. It's just that it's my next task is to just provide sustenance. So
I'm sure you do it
but I'm
very,
glad
very well.
we can chat again, and it's not going to die. Oh, here's Tabs.
Hello.
Hello, Tabs. How you doing? You good?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
How are
Congratulations.
you?
Yeah, very good. Congratulations on getting your followers.
Thank you very much.
Looking good. I'm glad
Not
to see
much,
you
but
have interest.
it's more than it was.
Absolutely. Hey, that's where you need to go.
Exactly. I just came in for a plaster because I saw through my finger.
Oh,
So I'm
Yeah.
just going to do
Oh,
that.
shit. Show us. Let's have a look. Oh, you.
Ugh.
It's like a paper
Oh,
cup.
I have the green stuff on my finger, but it bled through. So
okay.
plaster. Yay!
See,
That's the second time I've done it. The first time I did it, it's only just healed. And
yeah,
I've
same
done it again.
finger.
Yep, same finger. Well, it's the same thing that I'm making, so it's
Not all
I'm
fun and
holding the
games.
same thing. Yeah.
It's not all fun and games. It's dangerous work.
Neither of you two should be allowed any weapons or anything sharp.
I mean, I wouldn't say your studio is a death trap, but you've definitely got a lot of dangerous things in there.
Yeah, and the most damage I've ever done to myself is saw through my finger. That's not.
Don't worry about it.
No.
Could be so much worse. I always wear my safety goggles, tie my hair back.
It's got a fire extinguisher in there.
Yeah.
So okay.
What is? What? I'm not even going to go there. Best of luck to you,
I'll
mate.
tell you next time. I'll explain next time we see you in person.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for your time, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, take care, and hopefully see you as soon as.
Stay safe.
Likewise to yourselves. Much love, guys.